Dak, you close the door?
Well, hello, everybody. We are live. Thank you for tuning in to the Prop Stars. My boy TJ. This is your guy Buff. We had a very exciting start to the college football season. We have lead pipe locks to talk about. We got NFL game breakdowns, and of course, fantasy decisions and last minute advice. We got one more draft for ourselves. It's going to be a very exciting day. TJ, how you doing? How do you feel about being so correct on your lead pipe lock? What did you think about the game between Texas? It was Texas and sorry, as
Ohio,
I'm going
yeah,
through all this,
yeah. Texas at Ohio State. Yeah, it
and
was.
Ohio State, of course, the defending national champions.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be right on the first one, right? When we release these lead pipe locks, there's a lot of work put into this thing, and we kind of have a little machine that we throw things through, and we just hope it's going to spit it out. And once it spits it out, then we start really hitting the pavement and making sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And
it's a great algorithm, right? The lead pipe lock was the under on the Ohio State Texas game, right? Now, why did you like the under on this?
So it was first, we had two young quarterbacks. Second, a lot of new offensive linemen. Three, just as college football goes, these guys are kids. I know what I was doing at 19, 20 years old. So let's just assume what they're doing is probably the most responsible thing, right?
Sure.
And it's just the defense is always ahead of the offense early on. And also, as far as gamblers go, what do we want to take? We want to take overs, right? We have our producer, Rob. He's a young kid. He likes to watch football. He wants the energy. He wants to have fun. They're taking overs. We're going to try to make money and go against the grain a little bit here, right? So it was a nice start to the season. It was also fun because we won the game at halftime, right? I think it was 7-0 at halftime. Both teams couldn't move the ball. Arch Manning, a lot of major concerns there.
I was going to talk about that. So Arch Manning, obviously the predecessor of the Manning family, coming out, gets a great school, right? He gets all this hype. They're the number one ranking for the first time in school history. You know, this is another time that the number one team goes up against the defending champs, and the champs have won the last 3 times. You know, so that's always a fun stat. But you had him kind of come out a little bit cold, like you said, and I saw it right away. And he was a little bit nervous. He started to get it going, you know, and he had some completions. He had a nice touchdown in the fourth quarter to kind of cut the deficit. But by then, it was a little bit too late. What you saw was a few red zones, you know, opportunities at the end, and they got shut down. It was just a swarming defense. That's 26 home openers for Ohio State, and the Buckeyes keep rolling, right?
Yeah. Honestly, Arch Manning came in with a very high pedigree, not just because of his name, because of what he did in high school. He hasn't really played a big game in college yet, but a few things that scared me were his overconfidence on his short throws. Like his mechanics were so bad that he would just drop back, and there was one drag route that he definitely didn't step into it at all, kind of sidearmed it, which made me think of like a Mahomes kind of vibe, right? Not comparing the two, obviously. And then he was just way off. It was a 5-yard drag route, right? There was another drag route. It was like a 3-yard drag route, hit the guy in the knee, and he threw the ball 90 miles per hour. There were some things there that were concerning. You don't want to overreact week 1. Obviously, Arch Manning has the tools, but from what we heard in training camp is he didn't look amazing. And they call it something different in college, not training.
Well, you had two teams. You had two teams with elite defenses. Ohio State's known to have some pretty elite corners, from what I'm understanding. So, I mean, you could see why the struggles are there. He did get one in late, and it was just a little too late, you know?
He also had this really bad stat where he was missing almost all his targets that he was throwing to. You guys were talking about something on the pre-show, but we got a late start here. I wish we could have Gene on here too to talk about it really quick. But when I first heard about the NIL, right, I thought this is great. This is what Johnny Manziel got in trouble for, which he shouldn't have. Signing footballs. And, you know, if you want to sign 8,000 footballs and they're going to pay you $100 per ball, you know, that's $80,000. Great. Good for you. If you want to go do a Lexus commercial and they're going to pay you $50,000 for 3 days worth of work, that's good. It teaches you responsibility. It teaches you how to show up to work and all this kind of stuff.
Sure.
That's what I always thought the NIL was going to be. I didn't think the NIL was going to turn into something where they are paying these kids out of high school and, oh, I'm going to give you 1 million. Oh, no, I'm going to give you 2 million. Oh, I'm going to give you 3 million. I just thought it meant, hey, when you go to college, if some company wants to pay you to do a commercial, you could do it. Not, I'm going to dump a bag of money at your doorstep and then, hey, maybe you got to show up and we got to go do this stuff. I just don't like how this whole NIL thing, and the reason why I thought about this also is we could bounce
We
around.
hear you, Schneider. We're not burying them. We give credit to Ohio State, and there's a great chance that they're in the playoffs and repeat. And obviously, Arch Manning's going to be fine. Nobody's going to care about what we say about on this show for him for one game. It's not a big deal. It's no overreaction here.
The thing that scared me is how inaccurate he was. He made an amazing throw on like his last drive, a fade throw to it was like a tight end, and we all know he can make the amazing throws. But what scares me was he was not like a Manning, like I imagined a Manning. Yeah, the next 3 games are a joke. They're going to go 3-1. And he's going to lay at the scoreboard. But who cares? This guy came in as a +6. I mean, we've never seen hype like this ever with the quarterback that hasn't played enough snaps. They were saying that if Arch Manning went out last year, he would have been the number 1 pick. So
before he even comes into college.
We're not burying the kid, but you almost got shut out week 1. And it wasn't because of great defense, if you watch that game. So he almost got shut out week 1. And that's why I said earlier, his mechanics were so bad. And I mean, I hate my biggest pet peeve about watching a new quarterback is you can't complete your 5-yard throws and under.
Yeah.
And those were the throws he was really missing. But back to the NIL thing, I just hope they sort this thing out soon because
isn't it all about just the player being able to brand themselves? That's like the whole thing, name, image, and likeness, right? And it's you're right. It's about them getting the job. It's about them getting money and being able to get paid because they should be properly compensated for what they're doing for the school, the alma mater, for the program, right? All that's cool.
Instead, they're getting fronted the money. And now it's not like, oh, you show up to a commercial on time and you had to work 16 hours on a commercial, which we all know in the showbiz, right? That's how sometimes it goes. They're not doing that. They're just paying you money from it's not like a booster funded account, but each college has this thing now, and maybe Jeff could
break it down a little bit more in detail.
Yeah, it's a fund put aside, and instead of as a booster, you're putting money together for X things. Now you're pretty much this booster is put together to pay for players. And how long is that going to last, right? If I'm a guy that's got $100 million to my name and they call me up and they go, hey, we need $200,000. If you put that in right now, we're going to get this guy. Yeah, cool. Let's say I did that for Arch Manning and now I'm watching. I'm like, man, this is the guy I paid for. Like,
buyer's remorse.
Things, right? Where how long are these boosters going to say, oh, yeah, I want to pay for this guy and I want to pay for that guy. And oh, we need your money. It's different, right? When you use when you're using my booster, there's
money, 0 rules right now.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's a Wild Wild West.
Everything will be funded by your TV deals. Yeah.
When you use my booster money to build a new practice stadium, guess what? I see that every day. It's not going anywhere. But you're going to use my booster money for like an Arch Manning or somebody, and they transfer after a year because they're not happy with the way they get spoken to.
The transfer portal is insane right now too. Like every kid, if you're not getting a job somewhere, you're getting a job somewhere else, and that's pretty insane.
The problem, right? So, we know somebody at UCF who I went to high school with, and he goes, the problem is that these guys will be at practice and they have a bad practice, right? And he's at UCF, and Scott Frost is lighting him up because he dropped 4 balls. And now guess what? The guy at UCF is calling him and saying, hey, we'll give you $100,000 more next year, and our coaches won't talk to you like that. You know what I mean? They treat you with respect. And it's just crazy, right? Like it got out of control so quick. And I feel like that's kind of wise. Nick Saban, I feel like we're going to see these coaches go a little, they're going to probably end up going to the NFL until they figure it out. And I have a feeling that the transfer portal, the NIL stuff, all this crazy stuff is why we're seeing such sloppy play early on because, UCF, I think, has like 50 new players or something like that on the roster because everything is new and everybody's leaving.
They whooped up on Jacksonville State or whoever it was.
Yeah, you're going to go get money somewhere else here. You're going to get money somewhere else there. But let's jump into the second game I want to talk about. Tommy Castellanos And
FSU. I'm
F-
not big into college sports, but I've always supported the Seminoles here as the Florida team. Obviously, my wife is alma mater to UCF. I was really impressed by Tommy Castellanos. FSU was 2-10 last year,
they were
right?
2-10 after they got one of the biggest snubs in sports history,
Sure.
not making the big dance, obviously because their quarterback got hurt. But this was the big thing, right? And Jeff and I talked about this. I have never in my life, I have watched football my whole life, and I've never seen an energy of a quarterback change the way a stadium and the way those 70 to 80 players that are on the sidelines just change. It was worst case scenario for Florida State for the first 9 minutes. Alabama had a 9-minute drive and shoved it right down their throats.
Scored.
And it was run after run after run. FSU was outmatched, outclassed, and this had the feeling of like a 41-7 drumming. It honestly felt like, and I feel like Jeff feels like this too, the FSU Georgia game, the bowl game when Georgia beat them by like 50. I think it was in Hard Rock Stadium. It had that feeling. And Tommy Castellanos comes out in the field, and I think he throws like an incomplete pass or something like that. Like the guy dropped on a screen pass.
Right.
There's an energy. He's just like, he's fired up. He looks like he's about to jump out of his skin. And it started in training camp when he said, hey, F Alabama. I don't care who they are. He wasn't disrespecting them, but he was just like, I came to this school to change this behavior. We're not yielding to Roll Tide. And supposedly the media was so upset that he did this. And after he did that, the Florida State, the teammates were all texting him saying, no, we're with you. We got your back. And to see his energy, Buff, I'm telling you, I've never seen this in any football game I've ever watched. His energy, he was like they're, first of all, they're getting to the line so fast. So I knew that was designed, but they were so jacked. Tommy Castellanos was so jacked up. He literally changed the vibe in the whole stadium when it comes to the fans, the players. They believed in him, and he went right down that field, marched down the field, and made it 7-7. And I think that one drive is going to change Florida State's whole season.
Trajectory,
This is
right?
not an overreaction. I think Arch Manning will bounce back. I think Alabama might be a playoff team, to be honest with you. That's how good I think they can be. They have amazing wide receivers. That quarterback looked like they delivered him the ball. FSU just outplayed them. And it was
they had that dude, Jeremy. What is it? Jeremy Bernard, 8 catches, 146. He was balling. Yeah, the thing about FSU, man, what I loved about Tommy Castellanos, 16 carries, 78 yards, and a tutty. Dude was running the ball. FSU ran the ball right down their throat. It was kind of like you said, you saw Alabama come down, run the ball. They answered the call, and then they kept doing it. And you saw like a 34-yard run, and it was just one after another. It was a lot of fun to watch. Definitely excited about FSU. Do you have so they were unranked, correct?
They were unranked. They were a 13.5-point underdog at home. They won by 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you had the balls to money line them, good for you. And I think he's the Heisman favorite right now. It's like way too early to say that. Also, keep in mind,
but coming out and doing that to Bama, game 1, yeah, you're right, man. I
want to make sure we say this too. All 5 teams won in Florida, right? UCF, USF, Florida, who played Long Island, but whatever. Miami, and then FSU, right? So all 5 teams won. I think this is the first year where maybe Miami, FSU, and Florida might have a chance to make the tournament, or at least maybe 2 out of 3, right? USF looks really scary, but kudos to Tommy Castellanos, who played for UCF, then transferred to Boston College. Now he's coming full circle, goes to FSU. He beat FSU last year at Boston College. I remember watching this game week 1. I think it was week 1 or 2 early in the season. And I'm like, who is this guy? He's got such an explosive first step. He has such a swag about him. I hope to God that he stays healthy the whole year, because they FSU just has that. They just look different this year, and I'm happy that coach got them to turn it around. The way they stormed the field, I mean, it's so hard for me to root for Florida State, mainly because I'm a Hurricane fan.
Of course.
Second of all, there isn't a more annoying sports fan than Jeff Schneider. But
they also got Gus Malzahn too, right? As their OC. I mean, that's going to make differences. They got good personnel.
Malzahn was absolutely on fire.
Yeah, he was.
His play calling was absolutely incredible. He kept Alabama. I mean, it should be talked about more on how big of a statement win this was for a team that went 2-10, for a team that got snubbed. It's just absurd.
Unranked, huge underdog.
Yeah, I could see Florida State riding this momentum. Let's just pray to God, because they're going to ride Castellanos' legs till his legs fall off. Let's just pray to God he can stay healthy. But they got everything going on. They have a big receiver that's 6'6", some big white dude that could just move. Looks like a tight end, but I think they just put him at receiver. But they got a lot of things going on there. And it was super cool to watch. Miami beat Notre Dame. Everybody was saying that when they were up by 14 points that Cristobal was going to give another game away, and it looked like he almost did. His late game coaching and late game leadership scares me a little bit, but as a Miami Hurricane fan, it was really exciting.
I know you saw that catch by CJ Daniels. Greatest catch, obviously, of the year thus far. There was another one-handed catch in Florida, but just the moment that he made that catch and just how much it matters for Miami against Notre Dame. Hell of a game. And he just went across the middle and like literally behind his body to snatch it in.
It was an amazing catch. I think, let's just say, I'll put it up there as top 3 greatest catches of all time that I've ever seen, right? We always put the Odell Beckham catch as number 1, right? And the reason why is how deep the ball was.
Right, and the fact that he caught it with just fingers.
For him to be able to catch that ball the way the wind was swirling that day, how cold it was that day, and for how deep. But keep in mind, the one thing with Beckham on that catch is he didn't have any worry about getting clobbered by a safety, right?
Right.
Because where the ball was.
Right, it was in the corner.
Why I put this catch a little ahead of Beckham is because not only did he have to snatch it like that, I want to say it was with his right hand, but he had to worry about that safety licking him across the middle, right? And he just caught it pouring down, or it was really wet that game. And another catch that could change Miami Hurricane season around. I do also like how Beck, as he was dropping back, most quarterbacks, when they drop back, they're just when they're falling off their back foot, it's just gonna tendency to have like a little bit of a lob throw, right?
Yeah,
because you can't step into it. But he actually put a little bit. It was also more of a line drive, so it was that's why the safety couldn't get there in time, and the safety almost went for the pick because he was so shocked that the receiver made the play. But the reason why I put that catch a little ahead of Beckham, which obviously I'm wearing a Giant jersey for that reason. I love Beckham. I love the Giants, but I put that Hurricanes catch a little ahead of Beckham because of the fear of getting clobbered by a safety, right?
Of course, Miami finally got the little monkey off their back. They had not beaten a top 10 team in a long time. It was like something like 8 years or whatever it was. So that was a long time coming. Miami ends up winning by a 47-yard field goal with a minute left.
What a clutch kick. Cristobal almost fucked us again.
Sure.
Really conservative play call on 3rd and 3. I mean, they literally settled for a wet 47-yard field goal. Thank God Miami has one of the best kickers in college football. And Cristobal knows that, of course. But still, even if you don't go they pretty much did not go for the first down, which is absolutely insane. Second of all, you also have a minute on the clock. I wouldn't mind that play call if there was 10 seconds left, because then worst case, you're going into sudden overtime. But I think the reason why he did it was, like I said, for the 10th time, it's wet out. Notre Dame had no timeouts. But Cristobal, again, late game coaching. My dad always had a saying that if you blow a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, it's always the coach's fault, right? And I think Cristobal just has to. We got to get over this hump and this mentality where we can step on people's necks. You know what I mean? When we can put them out of their misery, and we couldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's had their woes with kicking too. When I saw the kicker come out, I was like, oh God, is this another Miami debacle? You know what I mean? Like where they have Notre Dame on the ropes. But no, y'all came through. Last game we were going to cover in college, LSU Clemson. Honestly, kind of a crazy game. LSU takes them out 17-10. Clemson had 31 yards rushing on like 20 carries. They just couldn't get anything moving on the ground, right?
More Ivan, thanks for listening. So Clemson is falling into the same trap they've had for 3 years with Klubnik. 3 years. Klubnik, he's a first-round talent. He's already projected to be the third quarterback taken off the board. We all know these things are going to change. But Klubnik is just the offense is vanilla. Every Clemson fan, we have I have really close to some Clemson fans. They were at the game. They're really disappointed with the play calling. Everything is so vanilla. They had a chance to take LSU down, and then LSU, you just kind of felt like was going to win that game in the second half. But this was supposed to be a battle of 2 first-round quarterbacks, and that wasn't the case. That's not what we saw. We just saw something that was both teams kind of like Texas and Ohio State. That's why we love the unders. This is going to be another college football year. Oh, yeah. So, Kevin, I didn't know that, right? Back to this hurricane thing. That kick was so clutch. 47 yards. Your team's season is pretty much on the line, and you just bury it. But Klubnik, he melts. He's like, yeah, Jeff, you said it perfect. I didn't even see you say melts until I said he never steps up in the big game, and he always relies on his feet. There was his play against LSU, and it's so easy for me to say this from the couch. But Klubnik rolls out, and they are so scared of him running. That's what he does so much that everybody just came in, and he had a receiver 40 yards down the field, nobody within 20 yards of him. And Klubnik, you could see, looks at him and just doesn't throw it to him. And Klubnik runs for 10 yards and starts celebrating. He's not the guy. We thought he was going to be the guy, but he's definitely not that next Clemson quarterback that's going to take you to the promised land like we saw with Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, and who was the quarterback before him? Boyd, I think, when they had Hopkins. We just thought Klubnik was going to be that next guy because he looked the part, but he is not that guy.
He's not that guy.
But what we saw, the reason why we like the unders a lot, right, early on this season is because what we saw. These teams, there's not a dominant team in college football. We haven't seen one yet, right? We don't see we'll get to fantasy in a minute.
Yeah, we're about to get to that here in a minute.
But the reason why we like college,
repost that in a second.
The reason why we like the unders is these teams are going out not to get blown out, right? Clemson, Notre Dame, and Texas can easily put this on their resume as a positive, right? We didn't do what the Gators did. We didn't do what other teams did and schedule cupcakes. We went on the road, scheduled top 10 teams, and we lost by 1 possession, right? They're not going to the committee will not hold that against you. So it's a strength of schedule thing. Now you hope if you're these teams that lost, like if you're Texas, Clemson, and Notre Dame, that you hope that these teams actually win throughout the year. So it's a good loss, not a bad loss. But you could tell what these teams did, and that's why we like the under, is that they were going to play not to get blown out, right? Let's keep it close, give us a chance to win at the end, and that's what a lot of these teams did. So not bad losses by these teams, but I think we're heading into another college football season where we're not going to have that dominant thing. That's the one positive thing with the NIL, because Bama can't just go pay 60 guys $1 million a year. It's not the way it works, right? You pay your top players. Everybody else gets the crumbs. If you're a crumb, you go to another school and you shine there. So NIL is going to spread out the talent, and it's going to be, Coach, I think Dayball was actually in the locker room saying, let's go get that quality loss, boys, right? Kind of ridiculous to say, but
you got any other notes on college football in the opening weekend?
Great week 1, and let's hit up this chat board. Chat boards are kind of lighting up a little bit.
All right, so we had a question about a 10-man PPR league, number 3 pick. I'm the back-to-back champ, 10-man standard PPR.
So the draft was last night, so we can't help him now. But what we can do is help you feel better about your thing. All right, click on the comments buff on the right. You'll see it. I took Bijan at 3. That's the first draft I've seen in 3 weeks that Bijan slipped to 3. That's amazing. You took Josh Jacobs on the way back. I love that. And at that point, I would normally go wide receiver in round 3, but Bowers was there. That's okay. I mean, we've said go tight end late, but you got the number 1 tight end. You got 2 great running backs. And Z Smitty's dropping his team right now. Then you went Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf. Okay, Bauer. I mean, okay. I forgot you said it's a 10-man. I was going to say this is a 12-man league.
No, it's 10-man.
I am loving this. But you got Love as your quarterback. Obviously, you went quarterback super late, which is fine. But this team is loaded. Addison, you took a chance on. Loveland as a backup. Mixon, we loved him on the show, and
you want to talk about that real quick? A little Mixon report.
Well, yeah, nothing has changed.
He's just not I mean, you went from feeling like he might have been value at 6 to even
Yep.
at 12, you're like, I'm still out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So nothing has changed as far as the news goes. No one's saying anything. But it looks like now there's a chance. I don't believe it. I do not believe it, but there's a chance he might not play this season.
You see your boy Walsh, 30 minutes, 5th pick, struggling, picking C-Mac. I want to take Jefferson.
Yeah. So he's under the impression, I've talked to him a lot about this draft. This is a very big draft.
Is it a 12-man?
12-man. Mortgages will be paid off on this draft.
So would you? Why would you take C-Mac? You think C-Mac's a good 5th pick?
Well, what do you think? I already told them that the 4 are going to be taken off the board. Bijan, Chase, Gibbs, Saquon. Those 4 are gone. Who do you have at 5? He says he's not taking CeeDee Lamb, which I said I like CeeDee Lamb over Justin Jefferson.
I like Lamb over Jefferson because of obviously the rapport, and you got Pickens now. I get if you don't like C-Mac because of the injury, potential. I will say that I don't have any problems going any of those running backs. I'm a little A-Chain we talked about. He might very well lead the league in catches for running backs. He might be the only real running back that has a chance to go like 1,000. We talked about that.
He might get A-Chain on the way back, though.
No, right. I mean, sure, if you're still risking your number 1 pick on C-Mac. Yeah. You could take 2 other running backs other than C-Mac. You could feel good about.
Okay, who are you taking at 5?
If you give me this opportunity, I'm probably overlooking C-Mac. Absolutely. And I would make my bed with I would take Ashton Genty before him because I'm going to trust that. And I would take, I'm not even lying, I would still take Jonathan Taylor or Derrick Henry just because of the nature of who they are whenever they run the ball.
I'm okay.
And if you want to stay PPR, then skip those dudes because obviously you have C-Mac, but you still have the opportunity to go down. And maybe you don't like going this far, but a Chase Brown or a Bucky Irving would be just fine. And I get Bucky maybe has a little bit more split with White, but I absolutely love Chase Brown. I think he's being completely undervalued.
Yeah, but you love Chase Brown at 5? I mean,
I'm saying no, on the way back.
On the way back.
Right, so, okay. On the way back. So if you're going to go with somebody, you don't have to have your CMC as your PPR running back. You can get one of these other guys and feel just as confident and not have to pay for C-Mac in your 5th pick. I don't know. I'm a little nervous on him. I think C-Mac falling to the back end, I'm okay with, but in the middle, I think there's too many other guys that are more guaranteed shots.
So, yeah, I think that – so, for some reason, he doesn't like Genty. I like Genty maybe a little bit over.
I like Genty more than C-Mac.
Yeah, I think that Genty, they cannot load the box on him. Geno Smith is at least has a reputation where you can't load the box on him. Bowers is not going to let you load the box on him.
Right.
And then they have, even though I think some crazy news about Myers wanting a trade. Yeah, but they have all right. They have some stuff going on there, but I think that Genty is going to be an absolute beast.
Well, they're going to be down. He's going to catch the ball a lot, dude. Like
he's just going to have a lot of touches. So
right,
I know that,
and he's healthy. You know what I mean? There's no injury history yet.
And the draft is coming soon for him. Oof, I feel like I don't think he's going to want to go Genty. So but you're saying that Genty over C-Mac. So, and yeah, the way we have a good friend of ours, Gary, a big fan of the show. I forget now who got the first pick, but he had the 5th pick, and he got A-Chain on the way back.
I took Henry over McCaffrey, just to let you know, in one of my drafts.
I love Henry this year.
I took Henry, and it wasn't even close because there's just what you're getting.
Yeah.
Versus what you hope what you're
Henry
getting.
Henry has defied all odds when it comes to tread on the tires. And they were with Josh Allen, how he takes touchdowns away from people. Lamar Jackson, they protect him with Henry, right? So they're like, Lamar Jackson, we don't want you to run.
Maybe you don't feel so good.
Run for touchdowns because if you run for touchdowns, you're going to hurt
yourself.
Walsh
may not feel great about it, but I think there's a real case to be made. There isn't a set order where you have to take McCaffrey whenever you're looking at the top 7 running backs. Yep. It's not that big of a deal. You can still go back and come back with something easily comparable, if not a little bit better.
And obviously, the reason why you're saying this is that you don't want to blow up on your first pick. And if Christian McCaffrey gets hurt, or if they really, I think they're going to run him until the wheels fall off. He's 29 years old. This is it for C-Mac, right?
I think this is it.
So this is his year.
But God forbid, I'm not saying he has a bad year at all. he may
No, I
very
know.
well get you to the playoffs, but he might not be there for the playoffs. I mean,
He might not be there
just
either. That's
because of
also
the absolute monster workload he will be getting.
yeah. So the risk might outweigh the award. The Parsons trade happened. Let's bounce over to Mika Parsons
All right,
really quick.
man. So let's go ahead and talk about this, right? Jerry Jones pretty much wanted to do this deal with Micah without the agent.
Yeah.
Mulugeta, he's a major player in the agent game now. He's known as a character and personality within the industry. And Jerry Jones even like was chipping and taking shots at him, needling him, saying, "Who's his
Yeah,
age? I don't even know his name."
he pretty much wouldn't deal with them, right? And that's all
He just
Mika
wouldn't
does.
deal with him, and he was dealing directly with Micah. Micah was saying that he wanted his agent to be involved, and he gave his agent that carte blanche to make the decision. And as soon as he wouldn't involve his agent and he made him direct terms, it was a 5-year contract instead of a 4-year. It was like 41 million versus whatever 40 plus. And so it was comparable, but it was directly to Parsons. And because he never dealt with his agent Mulugeta, they just immediately traded him away. Now we ended up trading him away for 2 first-rounders and Kenny Clark. He's a former Pro Bowler, DT, that fills a gap. The thing that obviously is kind of funny, you can't even do this trade on Madden, right? I'm seeing the memes are out of control with how awful the Cowboys business, operations are. And like even Madden, everyone's just laughing. You can't get Micah Parsons for 2 first-rounders and Kenny Clark or even more than that. So, I mean, you're talking about a real-life scenario that I feel like maybe we didn't give him away for a bag of chips, but maybe we give him away for a box of donuts. I don't fucking know, man. It's really annoying. I think that we shot ourselves in the foot again, letting another great player go because of ego, because of pride, because of old school business, whatever. You got to let football players make football decisions. And I feel that he shouldn't be the one in charge of negotiating with our stars whenever it's going to be that important. Now, with this being said, with days away, us going into Philly on banner night, the spread's gone up by a point. So from 6.5 to 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it happen. I can see us beating the spread, making it like close, kind of like that. But I don't see us beating them without having a real good pressure with Micah out there or without Mike out there. It's definitely not going to happen. Kind of takes some wind out of the sails. Now, for fantasy perspective and season-wise impact, I think that Micah not being on our defense definitely exposes us. We're going to be more of a middle-of-the-pack defense. It's going to be a lot more predicated on the offense. So all in on the Cowboys offense, 100%.
Yeah, it's
And
good
for
for
the schedule,
Dallas.
I definitely think you could take us down a game or two. It's gonna be a lot tougher, man.
Well, you don't
Whenever
trade away your best defensive player and say you got better, right?
no, 100%,
They
dude.
they
And
went for the future, but it's kind of weird because it's going to be first round picks. They're going to be later picks. As Green Bay's going to be
you're
respectable
praying
now.
one of those picks pan out is all you can do. You can't
I
even
feel like
guarantee it.
Jerry Jones is going to package those for like to try to make a big play on somebody else because he's getting older, right? And I don't know how much. I mean, you don't ever want to time someone's life out. That's a little scary to do, right? But how much longer does he have left in the tank to run this team? And he's going to run it until he dies.
Yeah, we know, and
Because
we're 30 years of mediocrity right now, and we just
yeah,
lost our best defensive player. And the reason why all this shit happened in the first place is because Dak took the bag. Is because we had to pay a CD. As soon as this happens, we go and give like another 80, 90 million to Deron Bland, who's great, but it's just like showing you like there's money that is there that we could allot for Michael Parsons. We just needed some friendly environment. And I feel like you have Jerry and Micah yards away and they're not even talking, you know?
yeah,
It's just not a look in the way that Cowboys do business. I feel like when you go to Dallas as a player, you're not buying into a Super Bowl culture. You're buying into the billion-dollar franchise and you know you're going to get paid. You know what I mean? You're buying in that this is your opportunity to put the star on your helmet and to make it for your family. You know, you might not get a Super Bowl, but you're going to get paid more than a lot of people who win Super Bowls, right?
yeah.
So there's like this whole give and take. You think Micah really wanted to go to Green Bay where it's frozen and it's just he came from Penn State. You know, he can play in the cold. He makes them an absolute top 5 defense potentially and adds a lot of glitz to that defense, right? But I just don't know if that would be his number one choice. You're talking like in Texas, it's beautiful weather. You get tax breaks. and you're the king of the town when you play for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
You're
and
one of the top
Dallas,
players in the whole franchise, and you give that away just because we're so volatile when it comes to personnel relationships. We're so blinded by what it is to be a billion-dollar franchise. We talk about it at constant, like, there's no end. The Tom Brady deal is the structure that you want to win championships. You take less money so you can pay your team. And Dak wasn't willing to do it. And this is all fruit from that poison tree. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's awful.
And you guys nailed the pick with Parsons. Everyone passed up on him because supposedly he was
100%, dude.
And yeah, now I don't know.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I don't
Barring
know if
help,
there was enough money to go around, right? Because if you pay Parsons, you can't pay Bland. Then if you don't, I don't know exactly how that was going to work out. Then you can't pay CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I don't even know really how that was going to work out. Then you can't pay Pickens if you want to keep him. I just don't know, but
But
I
you
don't.
just keep restructuring and you pay people on the back because we know that the cap only goes up, right? I mean, we know that there's obviously ways for them to do it, but we've allotted so much money into certain positions that I know it ties our hands.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was shocked to see $47 million a year. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money for a pass rusher. But yeah, so Cowboys are minus 7.5, over unders 47.5. I don't. That's gonna be a tricky one right there. That's gonna be a great one to watch.
Starts it
Everyone
off.
is
Can't
really
you see
high.
the script? Can't you see the script coming out? Like Philly goes up kind of early. Dak throws like an early pick, or they just 3 and out. Philly goes up like 2 touchdowns, and then Dallas just kind of trails. Maybe they make it close late on a last minute touchdown or whatever to beat a line. But like that's the only thing that I could really see coming out of that as a result,
A lot of people are saying, as far as fantasy goes, you don't want to play the Eagles this year because that's how good their defense is. I seem to think that their offense is so good that they're just gonna, like, even though their defense is that good and they'll probably win them another Super Bowl, fantasy wise, you might want to go against the Eagles because they're gonna be a very hard team to stop. You know what I mean?
100%.
And back to our fantasy league, Mark has been dying on this hill that he's gonna take Saquon at pick 3.
He might not even get it because we know Saquon or Bijan is going 1 or 2 now.
Yeah. And now he's saying Gibbs. That's why I picked the 4th pick, though, right? Because I wanted to make sure I just got
you were guaranteeing. So imagine if Chase drops down to you at 4.
I didn't want
you no brainer. Do you take Chase knowing that you're going to be thin on running back the whole way?
100%. I'm taking Chase.
And then you have a chance to combo Burrow if you take him in the 3rd.
Yeah. And Caton had a draft where it was a keeper league this weekend. So he got Chase and then he got T. Higgins and Burrow. So
he stacked them all.
Not in that order, but it was kind of funny to see. He kept Chase, so that was his keeper, and then he got Burrow a little later, and he got T. Higgins like in the 3rd or 4th round. It's kind of funny to watch. But yeah, so I don't think Chase ever slips to 4, but that's why I'm happy I have the 4th pick and our boy Kevin with the 5th pick. There is a drop.
Jeff is going to have a decision to make once Chase falls right in his lap. Does he really just no-brainer take Bijan or Saquon or Chase? That's not a no-brainer at all.
Yeah, I think Chase is hard to pass up on. So let's go down and start breaking down some of these games also. Chiefs and Chargers are doing something interesting. They're playing Friday night.
They're playing Friday night, Chiefs minus 3.5, right?
You have to watch it on YouTube. YouTube is kind of doing what Amazon did. There was a big money grab there. And you will not be able to watch the game unless you're watching it on YouTube.
Do you like that or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Friday game. This is where we're heading. As far as, Sunday football kind of always
privatizing games, right?
Yep. And they paid a ton of money for this one game. I think it's the only game they have all year on YouTube. But Amazon supposedly paid X amount for whatever they paid last year, and then they got 20X back in advertising dollars. So that's like the new money grab that all these companies are using. It's in Brazil. Chiefs at Chargers. This is the first. I mean, Chiefs got embarrassed in the Super Bowl, but they were still the AFC champs. I think that
Chargers playing tough every time, man.
Chargers and Harbaugh, they're not going to give an inch.
I think Omari and Hampton has a coming out party against the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs have always kind of been this team that they retool their defense through the draft, and their offense they've been riding to the ground, right?
Yep.
It's going to be fun to watch. I don't know what to make of that game.
Pacheco completely undervalued. Obviously, people love Kelsey and Worthy early because of the Rashee Rice suspension. Yeah. Those are going to be your main components right there. And then, of course, you have I mean, you got Gray and your cast of complimenting characters,
Has
but
Raji Rice moved up your draft board at all now that we know he will be back after game 6?
I
Because
don't
there was
think
a
he's
little,
moved up my draft board. I still think you're making your bed if you want him late or if you want to try to take something early for that value because he still falls in that like 4th round, 5th round bubble.
yeah.
And it's kind of tough to take somebody 4th, 5th round, even though you know they're going to be there for the last 11 games that early when there's like real difference makers in the board. I don't know. I still feel like he's kind of somebody that if you go running back and you go like 0 receivers and you need, some value in receiver and you go like 4 running backs or 3 running backs, your first 4 picks, and you get 1 receiver, he could be a complimentary second receiver, stash him, put somebody else, and then you get a potential 1A, 1B guy for the last 11 games.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I'm really high on Pacheco too. I think that the Chiefs will come out this year and Mahomes will. I thought Mahomes was going to do this last year, and I was kind of on record by saying this, but he didn't. I think Mahomes wants to get back to his 40 touchdown, because now it's like, all
He
right,
wants some sizzle, right?
yep, I'm a winner. I'm this, I'm that. But we saw what happened in the Eagles game in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs all year never opened it up. The Chiefs never opened it up all year because they kept everything close. They just knew down the stretch Mahomes would make the right play. Andy Reid would make the right play call. Kelsey would make a big catch. They'd win the game.
They averaged 21.8 points last year. Okay.
Not sexy.
That's not good.
Yeah, when you look at Mahomes' stats, I mean, they've been going down a little bit. And I think Mahomes is kind of like, okay, can we take the handcuffs off, please? Like, can I stretch the field? And the Andy Reid offense is get the ball out of your hands quick. It's like a rhythm offense. But also, we know Mahomes throws a beautiful deep ball, and he throws beautiful, also 25-yard crossing routes.
The first 3 or 4 years, it didn't matter who was receiving the ball at the back end. It didn't matter if it was Coleman, if it was Hill, if it was a few other dudes. They were all catching the ball from Mahomes on like 40, 50-yard bombs, and it didn't seem like you could stop him. All of a sudden, he's not getting the ball out, right? There's this whole Andy Reid like dynasty thing too. He loves with all of his running backs to make them a prominent piece. And I think that's kind of been some of Mahomes' struggle is that the running backs haven't been really popping. And they were like trying to make do with Kareem Hunt and Carson Steele. So now you get a healthy Pacheco. Clyde Edwards-Helaire never really made it. And I think Pacheco might be that dude who comes out as one of the most undervalued backs, like you were saying, in the entire draft because he's an Andy Reid running back, right?
Yep, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. I can see that from Pacheco.
Can't you see his receptions going up? I can see him catching the ball a little more.
He's explosive, and if you watch him in preseason, I think he looks great.
Do you think 40, 50 catches is in the realm for Pacheco?
Let me look it up. I want to see what
I think he could easily get 40 to 50 catches. You only need, like 3-4 a game. You know what I mean? Like that's not a lot for some checkdowns that you're going to be making sure that you got him out there in 3 downs.
Yeah, I mean, he had 44 catches in 2023. That was his coming out party.
So it's like 40, 50 catches is like his floor.
I am so high on Pacheco. Like, I would be okay taking Pacheco in the 4th round. That's how high I am on him.
That's definitely a feasible thing. Here's what I think is going to happen on Wednesday with the 12-man Ale House League draft. I think that is going to be a running back frenzy. I think you're going to see backs go early, and I think receivers are going to drop. And I know you already saw me in one of my drafts where that happened. And I can kind of foresee this happening where you're going to see backs going a round or 2 early because it's going to get a little stale down there. And there's going to be receivers dropping, and you're just going to have to make a decision. Do you go 0 RB and try to make it up on the back end?
It is crazy, too, because I could see Cam Ward being a top 12 quarterback, too.
And he's going undrafted.
And he's going almost undrafted. Trevor Lawrence scares me a little bit. But I do think Trevor Lawrence, Tua – I love Tua, and I love him week 1 versus the Colts. I think that's good. That's one of my it's a play that so far the machine
we're almost there.
Our mechanism for lead pipe blocks, but the over 46.5 Dolphins Colts is I'm leaning towards that being the next lead pipe. We don't like to lean here. We either you love it or you don't. But
right, and it's an even line too.
But the over 46.5 is, I think that's going to be a shootout. It's indoors. Daniel Jones, I think, is going to actually move that ball really well there. Jonathan Taylor is going to run all over the Dolphins. Tua is going to light up the scoreboard. I could see that being a 31-28 game, easily going over. And I was scared to put that out there. I was going to tease it a little bit, but you heard it here first. Second lead pipe lock of the year. We're just going to say it and do it. Over 46.5 Dolphins, Colts. Book it. We're going to have a little tracker here, be completely transparent with our picks.
Yep, I got it on paper, man. I got it. You know, another one that's a popular survivor pick. You have the Cardinals game. You got the Cardinals at the Saints, favored by 6.5. 42.5 is the line. It's New Orleans plus 230. Everybody's expecting the Cardinals just to go in there and trounce them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
James Conner, Marvin Harrison, McBride, Kyler Murray. They're gonna be all over them.
Now, the uninformed fan, we're a big fan of their show. Jeff and Tyson put out a great product there. I heard Tyson say something absolutely bonkers about Spencer Rattler tossing the ball around the lot, and he could be the guy. And I'm like, whoa, I saw nothing of the sort from Rattler. I think the Saints, before they saw the Texas-Ohio State game, were thinking, we're going to tank for Arch Manning, right? But I don't see Spencer Rattler being that guy. I don't know if I even see
It's not Rattler. It's not slow. That's for sure. It's not either one of those dudes.
Yeah, I'm shocked. Wait a minute. Did they make a play on anybody or no? Was it Pickett or no? Did Pickett? Where did Pickett go? Am I going crazy here?
I think either way.
Pickett went to the Raiders. No, yeah. So the Saints are making their bed with. I mean that Saints team. I'd be shocked if they win more than 3 or 4 games this year. I don't think Rattler's the guy. If Arizona does not blow them out, and I'm not even a fan of Arizona, but Arizona should blow that team out of the water. So we didn't really, the Chiefs-Chargers game, I could see that being a real close game, right? I don't know why. Every time I think of a game in Brazil, I think it's going to be wet and the field isn't going to be in great condition, right? And you're going to see all their jerseys by the end. There's going to be a bunch of dirt all over them because it's just, Brazil's obviously, tropical. So let's go. Cardinals, Saints, Arizona's favorite, a touchdown in New Orleans. I don't see how Arizona doesn't blow the doors off them. Rattler is absolutely not the guy. We could stand on that hill. As far as a survivor pick, Buff, we want to touch on that a little bit too. We have a big.
Let's talk about survivors. So obviously, your cousin runs one of the coolest pools that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
We're gonna potentially move our show to Tuesdays just because of this. So this is a little tease for everybody out there who's watching and listening right now, because we really want to have this be an outlet for us and something that we want to cover. It's something, it means a lot to our group and friends, and it is a lot of fun, and it's a great chance, change your life, make some money a little bit. But Survivor, the way it works, you get to pick one NFL team every week. There are weeks that there's double picks, but after you pick the team, you can't pick them again.
Yeah.
Through the first 6 weeks, you get an opportunity for a buyback. So you can sit there. If you haven't lost by week 6, you can pick a dog, and whether they win or lose, you can use that as a buyback in, right? So you get one loss if you want in the first 6 weeks. After that, you are eliminated if you lose. There's double picks week 8, week 12, like 15, 16.
The 2-pick weeks get crazy. And like you said, the survivor pool, it's a great format. Once you pick a team, they're gone. You can't pick them again. And a fan of the show, right? Jeff Schneider actually won it. And I was telling someone the story the other day. It's a great story. Jeff was in week 10 and he was in the survivor pool. He was getting down to the thick and thin. Usually starts with a couple hundred players. We were down to about 20 of them. And I looked at his picks and I was like, Jeff, you've mastered it. Your picks look so good. And he's like, there's a long way to go. So the buy-in was $100 for the survivor pool, right? I offered him $500 for 33% stake of about an $18,000 prize pool, right? So there was $18,000 in the prize pool. I offered him $500 for 33%, which, if you think about it, was a huge risk on my part, because all they got to do is lose one, and he gets knocked out. Our friend Tyson heard this and also offered him $500 for 33%. So just like that, Jeff, before he clocked out of his shift, had $1,000 in his Venmo account. Jeff ends up winning the survivor pool for $18,000, and that's
Legendary story too. Wasn't it something about the Commanders or there's like
it's a
some
crazy end of the story, and we can get into that. But Jeff ends up having to cut us both the check for $6,000, which it was bittersweet for him, of course, and we were all happy and celebrating. But we all know deep down inside of it, he
the
would have.
boys won that day, that's for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, and then we couldn't figure out. I'll never forget. I was at work, and I go, "Who do we pick?" And they go, "We got auto picked," because he couldn't figure out who to pick, and he ends up getting auto picked, and we luck box our way in. There was 3 people left, and keep in mind the reason why we're waiting. We're not really colluding, but we're trying to cut deals with these other people too, which we actually did cut a deal to make sure that the guy that second place got lost ended up winning 1,000 or 2, right? But we're trying to cut all these deals, and the lineup's locked, and we didn't even know who we picked for a little bit, and we ended up we got lucky, and the team we got auto picked ended up winning, right? So it was just a crazy end, but survivor pools are great. We're going to move our show to Tuesday to do a complete recap on the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, college football a little bit, mostly NFL, right? We're going to recap the survivor pool and do a great segment on that. Tuesday, we're going to start and have a show, right? We're thinking about going to 2 days a week. We've obviously been growing a little bit, but I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if people want to hear us for, 2 shows a week.
Right.
And talk about how great we are, right? And how much we know. But
Obvious.
But yeah, we'll obviously be talking about our hard losses too. But yeah, so we'll be moving the show to Tuesday. That could be starting next week. We'll find out soon.
And with all that being said, Cardinals are a great survivor pick.
Great.
And I think they're going to be a popular pick, right? I think they're probably going to be the most popular pick.
The struggle, right? Now, let's just own in on our survivor pool league, right? You get a buyback for the first 6 weeks. So, and why I say that is sometimes you want to go against the grain in survivor picks, right? Because if 60% of the pool is going to take somebody, that can knock out 60% of the pool if you don't pick them, right? But when it comes to buybacks, the first 6 weeks, you want to take risks, and also you want to take a team that you might not take again. I don't really see Arizona as a team that I'm going to love to take again. The problem is this year, early on, the Saints are going to get picked on, just like in previous survivor pools where it was the Browns, the Jets. I mean, the Jets are kind of always getting picked on in survivor pools. Shout out to our boy Gene.
Sorry there, Gene.
But Saints will definitely be a team early on that you pick on for survivor pools, right?
I know another one. We'll just get right into it with your team. We do have the Commanders hosting the Giants.
Yep.
Right? That's another 6.5 point spread. Giants are plus 215, Lions 45.5. What do you think? I mean, that's another popular survivor pick. Giants are supposed to be down.
I think the Giants give them hell, to be honest with you.
I think the Giants have way more of a shot than the Saints do. That's for sure.
Yeah. And as a Giant fan, we don't really have a lot of expectations this year. Jackson Dart, I don't think we're going to throw him to the wolves just yet. Russell Wilson is a guy that might keep it close, but I think the Giants might have maybe the best front seven in the NFL. We'll see. It's going to be fun to watch, but I'm really excited to see our especially.
So you like the Giants money line then, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say take it as a bet, but yeah, I would. If you could get, the Giants are only plus 215. You got to bet 100 to win 215. I don't love that. So far, we've already said it, but the one lead pipe lock so far is over 46.5. Colts.
Yep, the Colts. We got the Raiders that are going to be at the Patriots. It seems like it might be a coming out party for Drake May and the new Vrabel offense, right?
I'm excited to watch this game. I'm excited to watch Genty. I'm excited to watch Travion Henderson. Excited to watch Drake May with Stephon Diggs. Excited to see Hunter Henry have a big tight end year. What do you think about that game?
Well, the line's at 42.5. I think
over under 42.5. New England's minus 2.5.
I think it goes over, honestly. I think that both teams kind of come out and score. I think Genty probably pops off a little bit. You got Bowers, Myers. I mean, there's some fireworks there. I don't know how good New England's defense is going to be right out the gates. They're really favored as a lower tier defense in fantasy. Somebody who's like first half of the schedule is one of the easier ones in the entire league. And they get some cupcake games. I'm not saying the Raiders are a cupcake, but obviously they have a really good shot to start 1-0. And this game, I think the line's right there. I think that it's going to be a very close game. A field goal wins it either way. And I like the Patriots at home.
I could be honest with you. I'm a little surprised it's only 2.5 here. I thought New England would be favorite like 4.5 or 5.
I think people just think the Raiders are going to score, right? Like, I mean, they just look like they got a little bit more on offense with Genty. Like,
I mean, you have Jetty and Bowers, but it's a below average receiving core with a below average quarterback, right?
sure.
Yeah.
On the road, but it's not cold yet.
Yeah, not cold yet. I just don't see Geno Smith being able to do anything there. But, you know,
remember, they wrote him off. He never wrote back, bro. This is another opportunity for him to come out and go 1-0.
Yeah. What about Steelers Jets? It's 38.5 over under. Pittsburgh is favorite in New York, -2.5. I think Steelers top to bottom have a great roster. We don't know about.
I was kind of shocked the Steelers were more favored in this game.
Yeah, it's in New York, and honestly, people don't believe in Aaron Rodgers. Almost everybody I know has pretty much written him off. So he's got to do something special.
So you're saying it's on Rodgers. I think it's more on, can Justin Fields beat the Steelers defense, right?
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, the Steelers.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. I think Rodgers has enough to beat the Jets.
I do.
Can the Jets? Right.
Yeah.
Can
he's
the
2
Jets
years away from the injury too?
Yeah.
And he's really taking care of himself. If you look at him move, I think he's moving better. And
I don't think he's done any ayahuasca in a couple years.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
I think he does. But I do think that the Jets are going to have a harder time moving the ball than the Steelers, no matter what, right?
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, Pittsburgh. I'm looking right now just to see. I want to say they're one of the few teams that are favorite on the road. There's only 2 so far that I see that Pittsburgh is favorite on the road. Pittsburgh definitely has the best roster before the season starts.
Breaking news, Steelers and Jalen Warren just agreed to a 2-year extension.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit something how Caleb Johnson really hasn't been amazing. And I think he's doing okay, right? But he hasn't had that.
I think they're kind of just hiding him a little bit too. I think that they're going to unleash him, and I think he's not
sexy, right? We all agree on that.
Najee Harris was never sexy either.
I know, and Najee put up he was always
he was very productive, uncharacteristically, I guess, for somebody who you see him run, you're like, oh.
Yeah, nobody loved Najee Harris, right? But he put up good stats year after year. And I think that where are you getting that breaking news at? Where'd you see that at?
Sleeper app, dude.
Nice.
As soon as I have like alerts on my laptop, as soon as it
breaks, I know my phone's lighting up too, but for some reason
that just came out. I think Warren is definitely going to be somebody who a lot of people are coveting because they think he knows the offense and he's going late and he gets the PPR work. He's the third down back. They think I've heard some people be as brazen enough to say he's the guy over Caleb. And I'm not sure, and I don't buy that because every time we've ever heard that, it's never that way. And I don't think Tomlin rolls that way. I think he's going to stay a third down specialist. And I think he's going to be kind of sexy like he was a couple years ago. He can run for 600-700 and probably catch 400 or 500. You know, it's kind of being that.
Let me ask you this: Breece Hall or Jalen Warren?
I would like Jalen Warren more than Breece Hall, and Breece Hall is a starting running back. I think Braylon Allen. I think those who we respect around the fantasy industry all see Braylon Allen taking that job from Breece Hall. Braylon Allen is one of my only do not draft advice on the entire draft list in the top 200. Yeah. I want nothing to do with them. I don't want to touch him. And I do buy into Breece Lightning. I know he's got that pop, and we've seen it. He's already been injured a little bit. It just seems like they never give him the full reign, and Braylon Allen has shown enough that he's earned half of that backfield.
What about Tyrone Tracy? I was about to say Tony Tracy. I saw Rebecca and Tony.
Of course, yeah. What's up, Tony?
The baby's amazing. Jalen Warren or Tyrone Tracy?
Man, I'm definitely going Tyrone Tracy. I think that he's going to be somebody who gets more of that early back. Scottable's not the dude. I think that there's a lot of disrespect with the Giants offense, period. You still have, like, I know we talk about who's going to get Neighbors the ball. but they're going to be down every game. Neighbors has no choice but to get a 35-40% share of targets. Like
Yeah.
there is no other option other than Tyrone and him.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. When we went to the Monday Night Football game in Pittsburgh, Tyrone Tracy looked good. He looks good.
He's just got juice. I love his lateral hop. He's got a nice little side skip, and then he just gets north and south, bro.
Krosky Merritt or Jalen Warren.
Man, that's kind of tough. I guess you're kind of gambling with that because obviously Krosky Merritt's the X factor, but that offense is gonna be good. And it's kind of crazy because it's Eckler or Krosky, and then it's McLaurin, and then it's Daniels, right? Like
And
you don't
I
see.
think Debo. I think Debo.
I think Debo and Ertz are going to be running around kind of free, and I think that's going to give Krosky Merritt a lot more room than what anyone's thinking. I think he probably shows to be a top 20, top 20 pick.
Aaron
Jones,
late. Aaron Jones or Jalen Warren.
Golly. I talked to you about this before. I think Aaron Jones, I mean, obviously he's projecting higher than Jalen Warren, but we both think that Jordan Mason had the highest broken tackle rate behind Derrick Henry last year. We saw he still got pop. I think Mason ends up taking that backfield. I told you, regrettably, I had a choice between Stevenson and Mason. And Stevenson's obviously ranked higher, and I love him in the opportunity with the Vrabel offense as his last opportunity. But yeah, give me Jordan Mason over those two. I'm definitely into that just because I believe more in Caleb.
I'm going to tell you this right now. CBS, which we don't always agree with, has Jalen Warren in that Tyrone Tracy, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, Breece Hall bubble.
David Montgomery is the one top hands out of all of those choices.
Yeah.
You're talking about a piece into an offense with a defense that's down, and you're also talking about, God forbid, if either Gibbs or Montgomery go down, those running backs vault into the RB1 conversation, period. You already know Gibbs is, but Montgomery vaults into an RB1.
Jalen Warren's at 28. Ramondre is at 43.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
So that's
and like I've never had a choice to pick Warren or Ramondre just because like Warren's always further up on the draft board. But if you were to give me that, I don't know. That's kind of tough because Travion is still going to be the third down back who's going to have to earn the backfield. Jalen Warren he's also a third down back. I think that the offense with Vrabel seems more appealing to me with those two backs than the offense with Tomlin.
And this is why we want people to tune in, right? These are the questions you're going to have.
These are ugly questions.
And these are not we'll talk about, we'll talk all day about who you want with your first round pick. And it's very hard to mess up a first round pick, right? And, barring injury and stuff like that. But these are the questions you have to ask yourself. Buff, I think you're the fantasy guru. You're the guy that knows more about fantasy than anybody I've ever met. Very rarely do I think you make a bad decision, but I think you were off there with the Ramondre Jordan Mason thing. We'll see. We never know, right? And I think
that's because I still have belief with Ramondre in that Vrabel offense.
Yeah, exactly, right.
And if you were to look at the end of year stats, if they're within 200 yards, Ramondre and Mason, it's a coin toss. You know what I mean? Like, obviously,
and also Ramondre could be that Montgomery this year, right?
Sure.
Where maybe he has 600 yards and he has 8 to 10 touchdowns, right?
Can you imagine if Ramondre touches 8 to 10 touchdowns? That's kind of it's a big deal for something that cheap, who's not a sexy pick. Everybody's all over Travion Henderson, but I give more credit. Just like everybody thought Tony Pollard was done when he was going to Tennessee and he didn't have any juice, and this was his last shot, and Vrabel just resurrects his career. And here he is, still a decently top pick. And, we haven't even mentioned Tony Pollard once, and he's in a rare bubble as well, where there's a lot of choices, Tony Pollard right?
No. And I'm not a fan of Pollard, but he was ahead of all those guys we just said.
That's exactly what I'm saying. He's not a sexy pick.
You know what really pisses me off about Pollard is that, remember that one game Dallas played against the Dolphins, not last year, but the year before?
Sure.
And they showed a freeze frame, and it was Pollard getting a toss left from the 2-yard line. And the freeze frame was there's no Dolphin within 10 yards, literally 10 yards of him. And he gets stuffed at the goal line because he just didn't have the juice in his legs. And I'll never forget because I was doing a customer took me and my family on a VIP tour in Disney, and and it was you or Jeff or somebody that sent me the freeze frame of Pollard
I'm pretty sure it was Jeff.
not getting in the end zone. And I'm like, what? Oh, because Pollard that year was actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure it was Kevin that sent me that because we were so high on Pollard that year, and he just shit the bed. The next year, Dallas got rid of him.
And then, he goes into an offense with Vrabel and just balls out, and nobody saw it. And now Tajay's hurt, and it's a Pollard show again. And obviously, Vrabel's not there.
Yep. And let's keep on going down this list of games. This is the game that I might be most excited about fantasy-wise. Can you take a guess? Are you looking at the teams right now?
If we're looking at the Lions Packers.
All right, that's number 2. My number. All right,
that's my most exciting fantasy game. I could just see a ton of points, but go ahead.
Mine is the Panthers Jaguars.
Okay, yep, sure.
The reason why is I'm excited to watch Tet, obviously, which is crazy. I'm leading with that and not Travis Hunter, right? But sure. I'm excited to watch Tet, Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr., even Chubba. I never thought I'd say I'm excited to watch Chubba Hubbard, right? But it's just like there's a lot of fantasy hype, but value in this.
I want to see what the Jaguars backfield looks like. I don't think Bishal Tutton gets any burn yet, and I think it's definitely Travis, and it's definitely Tank. And between the two, we've obviously heard the reports about Tank, and there's also been recent trade rumors about Tank potentially being traded. If he goes anywhere as an RB1, like I don't know where you think he could land and be successful. I really love that, but that frees up Travis and Bishal, right? It's kind of one of those things. Bishal Tutton mucks up the backfield. I really want to see how it's going to be split between Travis Etienne and Tank.
I know. I think Tank is the guy, but I don't know that, right? But when you watch those two run, Tank is so explosive. You know what I mean? Right. And he's younger. Etienne just seems like he's one of those guys that like
Etienne's on his 4th year. He was such a hype running back. I think he's a post-hype candidate this year. Yep. And I could see him returning more value this year for where he's being drafted than obviously he did last year. Because
I'm excited to see Trevor Lawrence too. I want to see Trevor Lawrence in this new offense.
One of the greatest prospects of all time. Yep. Finally with 0 excuses.
Yeah.
0.
It's just I'm really excited to watch this game. I think this could truly be a shootout. And
so the line's at 47.5. I like the over. I mean, I can see it just going nuts.
I can see that being a shootout. Were you surprised that Carolina got rid of Adam Thielen because he was kind of like Bryce Young's go-to? And is that saying that?
I don't think so. I think that we saw enough that what they have now is going to be just fine. I think that what they have
right now on this ranking, Tet is the. All right, let's say his full name. Can you say his full name for me or no?
I think it's Tatoria
McMillan.
Right.
He is the 18th receiver off the board. Is that
buddy? Everybody saw him catch that dime in the bucket for like 35, 40 yards. And then it was just like he went off the draft board. He's a big body. He's an X.
Jameson Williams, Xavier Worthy, Pickens, Marvin Harrison Jr., Metcalf, Devontae Smith, Judy, Waddle, Ridley. I mean,
golly, that's crazy to put him in there because Ridley's the number 1. He's going to ball out. You and I talked about Waddle.
He's going ahead of Terry McLaurin. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, and I think Terry McLaurin is above Tet still just because of that offense with Jaden Daniels. I do think that Jameson Williams, we know that there's a huge spike with his leadership and what's going on in that offense. There's even a third receiver. It slips my mind right now that everyone keeps hyping up over there in Detroit, but there's just so many people. I don't think it's going to turn out to be anything other than, week-to-week thing. I will say that as much as you love Tet, I feel the way you take Tet, I don't think you're taking Tet over a lot of those guys. I feel a lot of those guys are taken, and then you take Tet. You know what I mean? 100%. I'm not taking Tet over a lot of those dudes. And I was going to say, you and I talk about this and put this on a clip. You could take it as a hot take. Waddle is being disrespected. I've looked further into it. There is no way that he's not going to be a top 15 receiver, 20 receiver. We'll even give him 20 with Tyreek Hill and Waddle and A-Chain and Waller. And as long as you got Tua healthy, it's like you said, it's kind of like poetry in motion. It's all timing. It's predicated on guys being where they're supposed to be. And I would not be surprised to watch Jalen Waddle come out this first game and have like 6 catches for 130 yards and like a touchdown. I think he's
Waddle
going to
is
break
ranked.
one. I think he's one slant away from just busting it out.
I know, and their college, obviously, Tua and Waddle are close, right?
There's no way that Waddle gives you a down return this year. And I told you right now, I'm kind of stuck in this quandary in my flex. I'm in this one shitty league, whatever it is. And it's like a single flex. It's a kicker and it's like a defense. It's like so 1995, but you have this choice with this deep bench. And I'm debating between DeAndre Swift or Waddle. And I keep leaning towards Waddle just because of that potential offense in Indy. And we talked about it in the shootout. I think I like Waddle over Swift, even though Swift, I mean, I can see Swift getting under 100 yards, having a few catches and a tutty, but I think Waddle, it's a bonus format. I think Waddle definitely has the pop potential over Swift.
Yep. And it's crazy. Yeah, it's just there's so much value.
I mean, between Tet and Waddle, I get why you like Tet if you don't have like a one, but if like, my goodness, how can you pass up on Jalen Waddle? The dude was going 3rd round just a couple years ago.
And like the value late, like Zay Flowers and Ridley are so far down.
And Zay Flowers is obviously the number 1 target. And a lot of people are just passing on him. So many other dudes ahead of him. I don't see, just like last year, I ended up having some shares of Zay Flowers. In the first 10 games of the year, he was a top 15 receiver, but he did nothing late. And I think that's where you're getting the value on him.
Maybe not a cold weather guy. Like he's
I think he was just injured. Like Jeff and I even talked about it, bro. Like he had that one game in the first half. You and I talked about it. You couldn't cover him. He was 8 catches, 120 yards, a touchdown. And that was the first half. If they allow him to be on lock like that, and you got Mark Andrews and you got Derrick Henry, there's a healthy Keaton Mitchell now, yada, yada, yada. And then you got Lamar. I just don't see how he doesn't continue to grow and kind of place his greatness in the top 25. I think that he has all the makings of a top 25 dude. His twitch is unreal. He catches everything, and he's in an amazing offense. That first game, Ravens are at the Bills, right? And they're giving the Bills a little bit of an edge. It's supposed to be a shootout. I like the Ravens in that game over the Bills. I think the Bills are set up to lose in this kind of situation with Josh Allen and them.
I do too. And we could talk about that. I think that if they play in the postseason, I'm a little more of a Buffalo guy.
Give me the Bills, right?
Allen's a big guy, and Lamar Jackson had some big turnovers. But Lamar has gotten better and better every year.
I think Lamar's legit gotten better and better, and I do see the Ravens getting a ring here in the next few years, man. There's just no way they don't.
I wish we could move like Baltimore to the NFC, right? Like the AFC is so top heavy, like with the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals.
The AFC North, I still think, is the scariest division in all of football, and that's like without the Browns being anything.
That's what's
because
crazy.
You just have the Ravens, right?
But the Steelers, Bengals, Ravens are so good.
They're so good
that it's just.
I think that you're also going to see, and then you talk about another one. You got the AFC West, obviously the Chiefs, defending AFC champions for years on end. The Broncos are on such a rise. The Chargers are on such a rise. And the Raiders, I know they're a lowly team, but now they have like Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. That is no disrespect. This is another great division.
I think that they're going to go get a quarterback after Geno Smith. Geno Smith's definitely the Band-Aid. Let's keep going to – I just can't get over how much I love this Dolphins.
All right, so let's finish up this side over here.
Yeah.
We got the Bengals and Browns. Bengals -5.5. Everybody knows that the Bengals stumble early. They've been notorious these last few years under the Burrows administration to go 0-2, 0-3 and kind of get it together. This is not the year that the Bengals start out 0-2 or 3. Joe Burrow beats the Browns game 1 handily.
That looks like a bait line, right?
It's such a trap game, right?
The Bengals are only favorite 5.5. It's in Cleveland, but who cares? I mean, the Bengals, Hendrickson's re-signed. It's so funny.
They still haven't signed Judkins. You know that, right? So it's definitely going to be Jerome Ford, Dylan Sampson, right?
Oh, these are the guys. Judkins still isn't signed?
From what I've heard, he's still not signed yet.
I know
That's a problem.
I know the charges got dropped, so I just assumed that.
Still haven't signed contract negotiations. And it's because the NFL hasn't ruled on the disciplinary actions yet. As soon as the NFL rules on disciplinary, then they're willing to see what kind of money they're going to give them, right? So
Yeah.
I love Judkins as a stash, but you got to be willing to think he's going to take 2 to 4 games,
Yeah.
right?
So, we always do our opening day Sunday football at Splitsville. And, we have all the families and friends come. It's really fun. But I have a vision last year of my dad. He's watching the TV. It's like 3:30. And I'm like, what's he looking at? And he's watching the Bengals get rickrolled by the Patriots. And almost everybody had shares of the Bengals in Survivor Pool, right? And we're all looking at it like, wait, what? Drake May and Jared Mayo are beating Joe Burrow and the boys, and it was like, you're watching, you're just like thinking, there's no way that's going to happen, right? And the Patriots knocked off the Bengals week 1, and like you've said, the Bengals historically always start out slow, and
this is not the year. You could sit there. If I'm gonna take somebody who's not your lead pipe, you're gonna give me somebody who's definitely gonna pull it off. I think the Bengals definitely beat the Browns. It's a win.
Yeah, I know. I see the Bengals, like
I'm even mark it. I'm gonna mark it. I've decided that's my lock. Let's go.
All right. So you're taking the Bengals -5.5
100%.
in Cleveland.
Yep.
That just seems too good to be true. I think that spread should be more like 8 to 10.
I just don't think they wanted to give them the respect because of how bad they've been in the beginning.
Are you?
But
Just,
if the Bengals win by 3 touchdowns, we're not surprised.
It's in Cleveland. Are you just thinking that Joe Flacco and the boys? I mean, Myles Garrett. The Bengals are known to be soft. The Browns are the opposite of soft, no matter how.
Trey Hendrickson got signed, didn't he?
Yeah. Should be interesting. All right. That should be a decent fantasy matchup. Not super sexy for Burrow and Chase week 1, though, right? Like if you're
yeah, but Chase he's so elite, dude. He beats the Browns like every time. It doesn't matter as long as if you got them. We'll move on. What do you think about the 49ers at the Seahawks? Obviously, we talked about the McCaffrey pick with your buddy. They're favored 2.5 at the Seahawks. 44.5 is the line. Seahawks plus 115.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting game. I mean, we're gonna see. I vividly remember a San Francisco-Seattle game last year where Seattle just locked them up. I don't know how the 49ers weapons are going to really get open, to be honest with you.
So Ricky Purcell is flying up draft boards. He's definitely in now like the top 70, 80 picks, period. Puts him as like a top 25 receiver. Everyone says he's going to be a fantasy darling, a league winner, potential lottery ticket. So if you go all running backs and you need a late RB or wide receiver target, he definitely fits the mold. Is like your
I don't
second
see
or third
Pearsall ever getting open on number 1 corners, first of all. So if Pearsall is like the number 1.
So you're saying you do vehemently disagree with the projections that are out there?
Well, I understand what people are saying, right? It's going to be
because Ayuk's not healthy. They don't have Debo. It's a Kittle show and a McCaffrey.
And then who's the receiver? Jawan Jennings. What's going on with him?
Jawan Jennings disgruntled with his contract and still nursing an injury.
Yeah. So Pearsall's a slot number 3 that's getting thrust into number 1. We've seen this before.
But they were talking about how he's a potential number 1 and has been growing in the offense.
Yeah. He's not going to be able to get open, I don't think.
And then they got Brock Purdy going ahead in the Baker Mayfield. He's going ahead of Drake May. Brock Purdy's going ahead of Dak Prescott. He's going ahead of a lot of other dudes in that bubble. I don't see how Brock Purdy is supposed to be a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, we're going to see what Brock Purdy's made of a little bit, right? He got the contract. He's a great guy. The teams love him. The teammates love him. Him and Shanahan are like, buddies, and he knows that offense at the back of his hand. Really smart guy. It's a great story, but I think the San Francisco has a down year this year.
Do you think the Niners beat the Seahawks?
I think I wouldn't touch.
You like the Seahawks on the upset?
Yeah, it's in Seattle, and
12 will be there.
Yeah, it's in Seattle.
You got a new quarterback, JSN, Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I could see Seattle winning that game, and I could see the Niners until they figure out that receiving core. They're gonna have a hard time moving the ball. It's gonna be the Kittle McCaffrey show. But let's go back. The 1 we missed 1 p.m. game. It's Bucks Falcons.
Bucks, I have them next on the list. Bucks are -2.5, 46.5. I think this game is a bar burner. I can already tell you right now. Let's flash forward. Be at Kitties, right? That's actually a 1 o'clock game. I guess we'll be at Splitsville. But I know Mark, the Atlanta fan, will be at Kitties.
Yeah.
Jeff will be with us, watching the Bucks, playing for the last drive. Baker Mayfield takes them down, hits Emeka Egbuka, game-winning touchdown. Mika arrives. Bucks are favored. Falcons are salty. and then it's nothing but a good press here in Tampa.
Yeah, I could see that being a real fun game indoors. The Bijan Robinson show. Does Pitts finally have his breakout year? Everything we've seen from Penix is the guy belongs in the
Going
NFL.
at like 140 in drafts. He's in that tight end bubble. Would you rather have Pitts or Hunter Henry? Would you rather have Tucker Kraft or Pitts? Would you rather have, my goodness, I guess you have the choice to, obviously everybody likes Ingram and Mark Andrews ahead of Pitts, right? You know, he's obviously ranked much higher, but Pitts has already broken out in camp. You have the blessing of Penix talking about how involved he's going to be. And I know, again, another note from the Uninformed Fan, great show. You have Tyson going on record saying, oh, he's my tight end. He's a breakout. Da, 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 da. Okay. So is this really the year that Pitts finally lives up to the hype since his rookie year? How old is Pitts? Do you know how old Pitts is?
26.
I think he's like 25 or 26. He's in his prime. You're talking about a prime Pitts, and he's been down for these last few years, constantly disappointing people, completely
24.
disrespected. So he's 24. That's insane.
It's sad that we're already marking him as a disappointment at 24.
Isn't that wild? So I'm all about the Pitts thing this year. I love him as a value tight end. Again, another reason why with your 7th round, how do you take a Mark Andrews or an Ingram when you can get somebody like that? You can go get a late Darren Waller. You can go get the dude Britton Strange from the Jags, Okonkwo. There's guys that aren't going to be projected at the same stats, but they could very well be comparable as a back-end tight end. And then you get in your 7th round pick, you get a starting flex position, right? Yeah. You're already going to get a starting tight end, but now you get another starting flex. I just can't understand, and I get why people love it. Everett Ingram, Mark Andrews in that bubble, Travis Kelce in the 7th round. Yeah. I want nothing to do with it. I'm on record. I want a receiver or I want a running back in my double flex.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we definitely agree there. Going tight end late. I mean, God, Evan Ingram,
he seems like he's the Joker, is what Gene says in a Sean Payton offense. Okay, so you got Evan Ingram, RJ Harvey's supposed to be the dude. You still got Bo Nix, right? You got Cortland Sutton. They got all these weapons. There's a lot of balls. There's a lot of mouths to feed. Broncos just haven't really taken off to be that elite offense yet. They're still kind of an ugly, muck it up a little bit, depend on the run game and defense kind of thing. It's not Bo Nix airing it out, guaranteed to throw 4,500 yards.
Yeah, I know. We're kind of, teams have already crowned Denver because they surprised us last year, right? And they went to the playoffs. They got blown out, but that's okay. They surprised us. And hey, guys, please follow and like and subscribe and all that fun stuff.
Now, I'm not saying that Evan Ingram, I'll go ahead and say this. I think he's a dude whose ceiling is 70, 80 catches. I'm sorry, his floor is 70, 80 catches. His ceiling is 100 plus.
100 catches,
his floor is 6 to 7 touchdowns. His ceiling is double digits, right? And then when you're talking about yardage, he should easily eclipse 800 yards, and he could be a 1,000-yard dude.
Yeah.
He is a little bit older. It's not the same offense as the Jags he was in, but he's supposed to be the matchup nightmare who's getting either the running back or the linebacker or the slot. And he's supposed to be Sean Payton's mismatch guy, the X, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I do think he presents value. If you go 0 quarterback and you have all receivers and running backs, I guess I see the case. I can't do it personally for the draft value.
Yeah.
All right, so another game, Titans at Broncos. Broncos favored. Is this the largest line? 7.5? I think so, right?
Yeah, that's the biggest line I've seen, right?
Tennessee's plus 300, 42.5.
Eagles, Cowboys.
We just talked about the Broncos, so I wanted to bring this right up.
Yeah, nice transition there. Hey, it's gonna be fun to see Cam Ward, right? And I hate to make a draft pick based on the first game, but I don't know if Ridley has a big game week 1, right? We all know Surtain lockdown corner.
Are you somebody who ever sees the week 1 projections of a player and you kind of target them on your draft? You're like, oh, it kind of shows you where they're going to be throughout, with the way the ESPN or said platform is respecting their ranking.
I think is a number 1 corner in the NFL, and he locks people down, and he'll probably give Ridley help.
And then we just talked about the lack of pop from Pollard. There's no Tajay.
Yeah. That's gonna be a tough game for Tennessee, but you don't want to count Cam Ward out, number 1 pick. Guy's a proven winner wherever he goes.
So you like the Broncos at 7.5?
Yeah, I would definitely lay off that game just because 7.5 seems like a lot. It just seems like there's
Seems like a lot.
So much parity in the NFL. I wouldn't be so shocked if somehow Titans win that game. But Denver's trending upwards. Not the sexiest game, probably the game I'd watch the least of.
Yeah. All right. I know we got to wrap it up. We got a few minutes left here to pop off these last few things. Texas Rams. Rams are favored 2.5. Stafford's healthy, getting hour by hour quarter zone shots to manage the pain. You got obviously aging Devontae Adams, who everyone's picking in the top 20 picks. You got
crazy how much I liked him a month ago, and now I'm just so scared of Stafford. And then I know that I wish that they would anoint Stetson Bennett as the backup. I think Jimmy G's the backup.
You got Puka, who's predicted to maybe lead the league in catches. It's either him or Neighbors, a lot of people say.
Everyone was so high on the Rams, and their luster has lost. They lost a little luster over the last month just because of health. And
the Texans are supposed to have a great defense.
Texans have a good defense.
They're going to definitely be a little bit interesting watching the way their running game goes. You got no Mixon. Chubb is getting his last hurrah. A lot of people say he's done. I don't think he's done. You do have Will Marks as another running back, and everyone's forgetting about Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce was the guy a few years ago. Wasn't sexy, but he was a Band-Aid. He's still there. Like, people forget about Dameon Pierce. And I get it. You got Mixon who came in. You went and got Chubb. You drafted somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if Chubb comes out slow, then they give the early touches to Pierce as Marks works his way into a third down role because he's more of a pass catcher.
Yeah, Marks is not. Marks wasn't very sexy, and Pierce had the chance to take that backfield, never did. That's why.
So you're talking like in fantasy, kind of cool to get a potential starting running back in the 13th, 14th, 15th round, depending on what happens with Chubb or Dameon Pierce. And that's a running game, and it's on record. The Texans like to run the ball. So you're getting a great running back who's going to get a lot of touches.
Yep. What about Nico? What do you think about Nico this year? I
just think Nico's unstoppable. I love how CJ Stroud targets him on every platform and level. He likes him in the short intermediate routes. He likes him with the deep routes. He likes him on posts. He likes him on back shoulders. He likes him coming across on fades, drags. It doesn't matter, bro. Like, Nico is the dude. He's the big body guy. I think their rapport is just amazing. And I feel that there's going to be a lot on this new dude, Jaden Higgins, because they don't have a lot of other guys. Who is it? Robert Woods is there too, right? It's like Robert Woods or whatever. And then it's this guy, Jaden Higgins. And I think he could easily step into a 2 role. I think that the attitude from the Texans wide receiving core is that they've been known as grimy. They're going to be blocking a lot in the trenches. They're going to be throwing a lot of shots. It's not just going to be routes. They're going to be meeting you at the line, pressing, right? They're going to be running the ball. The receivers are going to hit you first. I love that. I love that attitude. I used to love the Steelers for that back in the day, the whole Hines Ward thing, and just people who love to block on the wide receiving core and just like to hit you in the mouth, right? And that's kind of the embodied attitude of the Texans. I think the Texans give them a hands full. I could see the Texans winning this game. I think the Rams come out. Maybe they're a little soft. I think the Texans are just a little bit sad about the way last year ended, and I think they play smash mouth football. I like a little bit of the Texans in this upset right here.
Yeah, I could see CJ Stroud and the boys getting it together. I mean, that Rams offense, if Stafford is completely healthy, should be a fun one to watch. I really want Stafford to stay healthy. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I just think that
17 games seems like a long season, though, doesn't it, for him?
And like,
this is his last hurrah. This is it.
They wear red jerseys in practice to not get hurt, and Stafford gets hurt like the first practice. I just don't really get it. I don't know if it's maintenance they were doing on him, if he really was hurt. There's a little bit of an unknown with Stafford, right? And
thank you for liking and subscribing. Please do. Our last pick, we already went over Ravens and Bills. You got Vikings, Bears, Monday Night Football. Yeah. Of course, some of the more tenured franchises, whenever you talk about the Bears, They are a point, or the Vikings are a 1.5 favorite. 43.5 is the over. Chicago is plus
I
115.
mean, what Minnesota was 13-4 last year. They
They
played
got an
McCarthy.
unproven quarterback, right?
Yeah, and McCarthy is one of the biggest unknowns we've seen in a very long
We
time.
talked about the running game. We like Mason over Jones. They have no Addison. It's going to be Naylor and Jefferson. They
Swift
got
could have a good.
Hawkinson.
I like picking Swift in the 5th or 6th round this year, right?
I do. I love Swift as a real RB2 target who's going lower than what he should, and a lot of people don't like
Yeah,
it. Do you think all the Bears fans are going to paint their nails for this game?
yeah, I
Just
know, right?
to get
I don't.
themselves up Monday night, get a bunch of black nail polish?
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I
wonder what the Bears fans think about this. They're really excited.
I want to see Caleb Williams. I'm excited to see it. The Bears have weapons everywhere, right? DJ Moore is getting.
I'm telling you, my breakout star on that team is Rome Odunze, bro. I think
Yeah.
Rome just bust out. I think him and Caleb kind of got a
1,000-yard
thing.
season. I think he went for like 750 last year.
I think he definitely gets 1,000 yards. He's going to be somebody who's I think he scores in bunches. I think you're going to see Rome with like no touchdowns for a couple games, but he'll have games with 2 or 3. Like I
Yeah.
can see him kind of being one of those pop things depending on matchups and the way him and Caleb go. The Bears offense, new offensive line. Of course, they got Thuney. This is the best offensive line that they've had. You're going to have Caleb, who's pretty, good at not turning the ball over. He's going to have more
DJ Moore
protection, a
probably
running
has a
game,
big-
and a lot of offense. I think people are up on the Bears for a good reason. People just don't like Caleb's attitude, I guess, per se, and the way that he's kind of presented himself as a franchise face.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. DJ Moore can have a big year. Roma.
Do you think DJ Moore deserves in that bubble? Like, you think he goes like, I mean, he's obviously proven to be amazing every year. And every year we always look at DJ Moore. Like, is he the guy that he deserves to be drafted in like a top 35, 40 pick? Is he going to get you 12, 1,300 to touchdowns, 80 catches? Because that's where he always goes.
I think that he could be the Amon-Ra St. Brown of that offense, right? I think DJ Moore has a big year. I think Caleb Williams gets him the ball.
Do you take McLaurin or do you take DJ Moore?
Ooh, that's close.
Do you take JSN or DJ Moore? Garrett Wilson or DJ Moore?
I'm going JSN over that. Obviously, JSN, I'm going over those, but I'm going DJ Moore over McLaurin, I think.
Really?
I just think that.
I think after McLaurin got signed, I think McLaurin's being undervalued.
Yeah, that's actually kind of close. I don't know why I think DJ Moore is just going to have a big year. The DJ Moore McLaurin thing, that's a real debate. That's
a real debate right there because you're going to have a choice. And it's like it's in that 4th round bubble, and you're in this little area where you can either go down and grab Mike Evans, DK Metcalf. These are those running backs that are right in that little bubble. Do you take an Omari and Hampton? Do you go Travion Henderson? Or do you go one of these receivers that we just said?
Yeah,
those are all your picks in that bubble.
CBS has McLaurin at 31, DJ Moore at 32. So that's a real
kind of tough, right?
Calvin Ridley at 30, Waddle at 29. That's like the bubble. That's a tough one. That's tough.
So rank those for me right now. It's the last show before our last draft. Yeah, rank those receivers right now in that 4th round.
DJ Moore, McLaurin, Ridley, Waddle. Even though I love Waddle.
I don't love Waddle. If you can get shares of Waddle, your third wide,
3 number ones, right?
Flex. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah. Like, yeah, we talked about, right?
Waddle's a 1A, 1B guy.
Yeah, if you
go,
is
that agreed that Waddle's a 1A, 1B guy?
Yeah, I think Waddle. I mean, yeah,
because Tyreek's older.
Yeah.
He's obviously like there's this whole connection with Tua and Waddle. There's this aging effect of Tyreek kind of in his last years with Miami.
Yeah.
Waddle's the future.
It's going to be, it's a 1A, 1B for sure. And I think Tyreek Hill has a big year. But, yeah, I can easily see them both having 1,000+ yards, obviously, right? I mean, if Tyreek Hill doesn't have 1,000 yards, that's
last
crazy.
1A, 1B question I got for you. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith.
Yeah. I mean,
are they still 1A, 1B?
Yeah, A.J. Brown thinks the number 1 there. But Devontae,
he goes 1. Devontae's definitely a 2 now, even though he's popped in years past.
Yeah,
Saquon kind of takes a little bit of that shine, right?
Sometimes, but yeah, I love Devontae Smith. I mean, Devontae Smith is so shifty.
You're getting Devontae Smith for a value this year too because he's almost like a Waddle.
Yeah, they have him at 26th here. Egbuka 27th, Pearsall 28, Waddle 29, Ridley.
Do you take Devontae Smith or Pearsall? Devontae, right?
Devontae. Yeah.
Devontae,
Pearsall,
that's not close.
yeah. Pearsall to me was a fun pick, but now he's
Pearsall was a great pick down in the hundreds.
yeah.
Pearsall up in the 70s is not what I'm
Like,
buying.
to me, getting Pearsall in the 8th to 10th round all day, but no.
No.
Tell me 5th round Pearsall, get out of here. But
So this is this our last Monday show here, buddy? This is it, right? And we're going Tuesday.
I think we're gonna start moving to Tuesdays.
We'll
We'll
be
know
here next Tuesday, everybody.
Yeah.
Don't forget, after this, there's a show, Rookies, that comes on after us, part of our network. Make sure you give them a like and subscribe and give them some support. We'll be back here covering our incredible draft. We'll be covering the Cowboys loss to the Eagles and some great football analysis that's going to unfold in front of our eyes. I think there's going to be a lot of upsets. And then there's going to be a lot of topics of guys who we saw the potential that actually came to fruition. And then we'll obviously talk some busts, right?
Yeah, and then we'll be releasing some YouTube shorts, some lead pipe blocks. You heard a couple here right now, but we'll officially release them on our YouTube shorts.
By the way, just as an added caveat, I was not going to release any shorts with Micah Parsons. I'm not like burning jersey status where if I ever had his jersey, I'd burn it. I just think that Cowboys just have egg on their face. We just are a franchise until Jerry Jones dies that will be meddling with bad personnel decisions. We can get people we can nail our draft, but we are not going to be anything that would be special until we can figure out how to keep our players, period.
Yeah, and if you were maybe a Super Bowl contender, it's hard to be a contender and then trade away your best defensive player.
Yeah, there's no way you can put us in there. I don't think I see us finishing third in our division now. We'll finish ahead of the Giants, but I don't think we contend with the Commanders or with the Eagles in our division for sure.
You didn't get better on that.
Yeah. No, we did not. We definitely didn't.
Well,
but all right, that's the last I got to say.
guys.
Appreciate y'all. One love. Prop stars out.
All right. See you later, guys.